The year is 2001 and everything pretty much sucks. Someone gave this walking AI construct a show on MTV. Meanwhile, Radio Rock was dominated by bad Eddie Vedder impressions, hokey religious posturing, and soulless rock rap garbage. I mean, this was a long damn time ago. Captain Bullgod here had not yet delved into beer politics.
Hey man, aren't you leaving out a pretty major world event? You know, something from 2001? Something involving towers.
What, 9/11? Here's the thing about 9/11. If Marky Mark, star of The Happening, had been on that plane, 9/11 never would have happened.
Yeah, I guess that quote aged about like your hairline.
What's wrong with my hairline?
Today's movie is A Beautiful Mind, starring Russell Crowe.
I get to say that part, asshole. I'm the one who had to sell a testicle so we could afford that fancy MacBook for editing.
Well, I think it was a good deal. You hardly use your gonads. I've sauced up like 60 batches of fly eggs since we started recording.
Disgusting. You think I want more flies in here?
Don't even think about it, Pugsley. I told you. All I have to do is send a few texts and 300 or 400 of my ladies will lay eggs in your ear holes. My young'uns will be living in your head rent-free. Literally.
Anyway, A Beautiful Mind is set in Princeton in the late 90s. I know this looks like a period piece from the 18th century, but remember, this is Princeton. Just be glad they're not wearing powdered wigs. We follow the saga of the great James Nash, a real-world mathematician who won the Nobel Prize for some expensive-sounding theory about governing dynamics. Nash demonstrates about as much charisma as the inside of Mark Zuckerberg's scaly little cloaca. You'll be on the edge of your seat as Nash busts out corny math zingers.
There could be a mathematical explanation for how bad your tie is.
Strikes out with the ladies.
I don't exactly know what I'm required to say in order for you to have intercourse with me.
Yeah, lays down more math zingers.
I imagine you're getting quite used to miscalculation.
You scared? Terrified, mortified, petrified, stupefied by you.
Antagonizes his students.
Personally, I think this class will be a waste of your, and what is infinitely worse, my time.
Casts aspersions on his fellow man.
Memorizing the weak assumptions of lesser mortals.
And engages in elder abuse. Fortunately, he's got a cool roommate.
The prodigal roommate arrives.
Paul Bettany's character, Martin the English major, brings a much-needed spark of vitality to the narrative. By getting laid, drinking to excess, and not doing any goddamn math problems, Martin works against the stodgy Princeton backdrop. Unfortunately, this isn't enough to offset just how excruciating it is to watch Nash going around impersonating Larry David.
Is my roommate a dick?
The answer is yes, Marty. In addition to delusions of grandeur, Nash also exhibits the hallmarks of malignant narcissism, evident in his refusal to accept defeat after a fair and well-regulated round of hex.
You should not have won. I had the first move. My play was perfect. The game is flawed.
I mean, does this remind you of anybody?
Don't get too clever, brother. These videos only get like 5 or 6 views, and the viewers are all from the heart of Alabama. I've seen our analytics.
Somehow, Nash's negative charisma manages to win over Jennifer Connelly, even though she's a 10 and he's clearly a flat 5. Anyway, other than Paul Bettany's character, this movie is mostly an extended math montage. And it's flaws like these that disconnect us from the narrative and make us question whether director Ron Dallas Howard's choices are amplifying the story or if they're actually falling into insularity and self-indulgence.
Woo! You're spitting some heat today, Philip Seymour Baldwin. Rave on, baby.
Oh, yes. You might have to change my name to Bankrupt Barry after this episode.
I smell your gumbo cooking, dog. Watching this Nash guy try to do math is like watching you try to pick up boomer hags on Facebook.
Time to get paid! But now, it's time for a word from our sponsor. Today's episode is brought to you by Liverman's Testy Puff cereal. Testy Puffs? Are you f***ing kidding me?
I told you, bro, we gotta gear our ads toward our demographic. Most of the dudes who watch this channel are deeply insecure about their bodies.
But didn't this guy allegedly get busted with a metric ton of steroids? What sort of currency is he using to pay us? Bitcoin and Nandrolone?
Well, his first offer was a bunch of dank-ass NFTs. Now stick to the script there, fat Sajak.
Hey there, you frail little subprimal cuck boys. Put down your beta-tier frosted flakes and pick up a cereal designed for primal men and women. But mostly men because they're stupid enough to go for this shit.
Don't get clever, Barry. Read it right.
Each spoonful of Testy Puffs is loaded with enough zinc and goat testosterone to stop the heart of a full-grown silverback gorilla. But you're gonna need every drop of that sweet, sweet anabolic nectar because you are a lowly retrograde husk of a male specimen with jelly in your belly and subprimal sludge clogging up your shriveled little scrot. Embrace the primal Jesus Christ. This is just the male version of that Gwyneth Paltrow scam. Anyway. Every box of Testy Puffs is loaded with only the finest animal gonads and meat byproducts. Don't eat them with milk, it'll curdle. Liverman recommends flooding your bowl with a nice Kentucky bourbon or maybe half a pint of premium yak piss. Hey, how many boxes of this crap did he send us?
He sent an entire crate. Our whole garage smells like Jonah Hill's sock drawer.
Make sure that shipment makes it into the trash before it starts attracting more of your little friends.
Dude, it's not like you got anything better to eat.
Hey, f*** it. I'll fry up that vagina candle Gwyneth Paltrow sent us. Game on! This movie's gears finally start turning when we meet the G-Man character, played by the great Ned Harris. Harris wants to use Nash as a big-brain code breaker. That way, he can keep President Bush up to date about Iraq.
Yo! Stay off them parlor tricks.
Nash uses his math powers to scan thousands of magazines and news articles and extract deeply embedded codes. Unbeknownst to Nash, he's actually founding the early stages for a website known as 4chan. Years later, elite incel operatives would use Nash's theories to form a certain group based on a certain letter. Kinda rhymes with...
Yeah, real subtle there, Gene Snackman.
And this is where the movie's seams really start to show. The fact is, Ned Harris's character has a backstory that's just far more immediate and compelling than that of Nash's internet trolling. Before becoming a G-Man, Harris was a bona fide soldier. We're talking stars, bars, and Purple Hearts.
Hoorah!
He lost a diabetic aunt in the Vietnam conflict, and this adds depth and dimension to his character. He had his share of tough scrapes, too, including hostile insubordinates.
God damn it, Commander, one last time. You tell your men to safety their weapons, drop them on the deck.
I cannot give that order!
I am not going to repeat that order!
Stand down, Captain.
Stand down, Captain!
Ned Harris's character was even involved in counter-terrorism operations against a face-off-era Nick Cage.
I'm on target. 12 seconds. I already dropped them!
We cut back to the main narrative for yet another James Nash math montage. By this point, Nash's little arrangement with Ned Harris becomes increasingly strained.
Hey, bro, it seems like you're leaving something out of the Russell Crowe part. Didn't he turn out to be dyslexic? Or wasn't he dead the whole time, like Bruce Willis in that kids movie?
You were there for the screening. It's mostly just math problems. Did I mention that after serving in the Army, Ned Harris's character took part in special ops for the Navy? Among other assignments, he helped perfect the recipe for smart water.
Bud?
He also theorized a new and controversial method for CPR.
God damn it, you bitch! You never backed away from anything in your life! Now fight! Fight!
Plus, he worked with yet another founding member of 4chan.
We can't trust them. We may have to take steps. We're gonna have to take steps.
Good people. I think this guy does his own research.
So raise your hand if you think that was a Russian water tentacle. Lieutenant? No?
Wait, shouldn't this guy be pro-Russia?
Ned Harris is also the first rear admiral to breathe this oxygenated country time lemonade looking shit for TikTok clout. Apparently, this stuff has actual scientific grounding behind it. And yes, everyone knows that the rat was actually breathing this junk in that one scene. Don't mention it in the comments. Here's Ned Harris fighting Captain 4chan over who gets to eat the last pack of Hot Pockets. Little known fact, paranoid 4chan guy is actually the great-great-grandfather of military stereotype guy from Ron Dallas Howard's extended cinematic universe. The Navy Ned Harris part of the movie really rocks my hammock. He and his crew even stumble upon a kind of underwater version of Roswell, New Mexico. Anyway, we're getting into the weeds here. This video is supposed to be about James Nash, so here he is making a Q drop. And making sweet love to Jennifer Connelly. Many long and boring years pass, and Nash is still doing math. After he finally gets tired of running Q drops with Ned Harris and the other G-men, Nash finally decides to swallow his pride and take another run at the hex board.
You scared? Terrified. Mortified. Petrified. Stupefied by you.
He has learned how to lose with dignity, and he also hires some fairly saccharine speechwriters for an award ceremony that only the geekiest mathematicians have ever heard of.
I have made the most important discovery of my career. The most important discovery of my life. It is only in the mysterious equations of love that any logical reasons can be found.
I mean, don't get me wrong, this is all well and good. It's just not as interesting as the Ned Harris thread. Did I mention that Ned gets dragged down a fucking K-hole by an underwater alien? Bet you didn't expect to see Cabin Boy make a cameo in a Ron Dallas Howard movie.
Losing number 2 thruster.
I'm sorry, this part of the story is 1,000 times more badass than the Princeton Math Olympiad. And that's it, you scabs. That's a beautiful mind. Now go freeload your entertainment somewhere else.
Howdy. How you guys doing?